Go out there, finish Islam, and retain life.
What started as a post-fight controversy has exploded into something far bigger. Islam's team is now under NYPD investigation, and the consequences could be severe. Bisping reacts to Ilia's comments by reminding fans that while he likes Ilia and respects what he's accomplished, the Georgian star might be getting ahead of himself. He points out that Ilia just became lightweight champion, and before that, he vacated featherweight without defending against Charles Oliveira. Bisping also says that it's too soon for him to be calling out Paddy or Islam when he just became champ and hasn't even defended the belt he vacated.
So this is what Ilia said. He must have done an interview this week or a couple of days ago. He said, I have Paddy on my mind. I'd like to fight Paddy. If they don't let me move up to welterweight to fight Islam, I want to fight Paddy if they don't let me.
Yeah.
Because the fight I would really like is against Islam in the 3rd weight class. But let's see. Maybe I'll have one more fight. Then in the summer, maybe there's a date when they'll let me move up to welterweight and I'll fight for the 3rd belt. Again, got to preface it with, I'm a fan of Ilia. I am. However, you just became the champ. You had to vacate featherweight
without defending.
Fight Charles.
Michael Bisping adds that Ilia needs to defend his belt first before talking about moving divisions. He says he understands the situation is a bit unique since Islam was lightweight champion just weeks ago, but still Ilia hasn't defended anything yet, and that has to come before chasing a 3rd weight class or calling out bigger names.
You've got to defend the belt before you even think about fighting Islam. And I understand it's a little bit different because Islam was the lightweight champ up until a couple of weeks ago.
Paul Felder points out that even though Islam moved divisions, he still has plenty of contenders lined up and ready to go. Ian Gary, Morales, Brady, and others are all actively chasing that title shot, and some, like Morales, have even said they're willing to fight another top contender first if that's what it takes. Since Islam can only fight one of them next, Felder says that based on merit, the most deserving contenders right now are Morales or Ian Gary.
The other thing is, I know Islam moved, but now he also has business in front of him. He's got multiple people lined up now. Ian Gary just beat Bilal. Morales beat Sean Brady. Protest beat Leon. There's guys that are ready to fight and willing to fight and want to fight for that belt and are willing to fight each other in the interim between when that opportunity may come. Morales already came out and said, if I have to fight Protest before I fight for that belt, no problem. Love it.
Yeah.
Make it happen. So Islam's only going to fight one guy. We don't know who that's going to be. We don't know if they're going to give him Kamaru and jump the line hugely there. But based, again, on merit, I think, in my opinion, it should be Morales or Ian Gary.
Ali Abdelaziz emphasizes that many fans are underestimating Jack Della Maddalena, but even Khabib, Javier, and Islam himself recognize how dangerous he is. He calls this matchup Islam's toughest fight to date, praising JDM's youth, skill, and talent. Despite the challenge, Ali remains confident that Islam, as the pound-for-pound best, will rise to the occasion and put on an impressive performance.
Let's talk about Islam a little bit. Obviously, huge opportunity for him to get this title at the welterweight division. Stylistically, people are just constantly online going, Islam's going to dominate this fight, dominance. And my conversation with Khabib and even Javier was, too many people look past JDM. And even Islam had just told me right now, he's like, I'm not. There's no way. This guy is really good.
This is Islam's toughest fight to date. JDM is very, very good. He's young. He have talent, you know. But I still believe Islam is the pound for pound, the best fight in the world. I believe it's Islam's toughest fight. But I believe Islam is gonna go out there and he's gonna put on a great performance. It's not gonna be easy.
Abdulaziz adds that he's extremely confident in Islam's current form, pointing out the progress he's made over the last 3.5 weeks. He says today's Islam is far stronger and sharper than before, and he believes that if they matched him against his old self, the current Islam would dominate and stop the previous version in just 2 rounds.
But I'm very confident because I see the last 3.5 weeks with Islam, the things he does. The Islam today will beat the hell out of the old Islam. We'll stop him in 2 rounds. The Islam now will beat the Islam who fought Poirier and this guy.
Ali Abdelaziz implies that Islam Makhachev doesn't pick and choose opponents. He's willing to fight anyone, anywhere, at any time. He emphasizes that Islam, along with other fighters like Khabib, Omar, and some of his top athletes, will face any challenge because if you consider yourself the best in the world, you have to be ready to beat anyone on any given day.
Brother, it doesn't matter. If Islam wanna, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Islam will fight anybody. He never said no to a fight. Like, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Habib, Islam, all those guys. Omar was asking to fight somebody in the top 15 if there's nobody gonna fight him outside the top 15. Islam, these guys don't. I'm telling you, everybody. I can name you guys: Kamaru Usman, Islam, Habib, Omar. Like I can, Gilbert Burns. I can name you some guys who do not care who they fight. It's not every fighters, but I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of my guys, I implemented them into them. They are the best in the world. And if you think you're the best in the world, you have to beat anyone on any given day.
Chael Sonnen explains that Islam Makhachev's mindset is what sets him apart. Even when the original matchup against Tsarukyan fell through, Islam stayed composed and told Dana White, "I don't care who the replacement is, but this is real." He follows a strict code as a champion. He doesn't pick his opponents. He's willing to face anyone who makes the weight, which Sonnen suggests is a key reason why Islam became a star.
The number one thing that anybody wanted to see Islam Makhachev do was Ilia Topuria. The main event was to be Islam versus Tsarukyan. Both guys get there in spite of the natural disaster that we're in, but Tsarukyan never hits the scale. Islam tells Dana White, "I don't care who the replacement is," but this is real. See, this is Islam's code. It's possibly this statement and this attitude in front of everything else as to why Islam did become a star, but he tells Dana White, "You pick the opponent. I'm the champion, so I have no say. I must face anybody that can make the weight class."
Chael Sonnen adds that leading up to Islam's fight with Jack, all the discussions and debates centered around Ilia. He notes that while he and others had picked a weight class, assuming it would be 170 pounds, many around them were expecting Islam to drop back down to 155 pounds. This highlights the constant speculation and focus on Islam's opponents and weight decisions, showing how much attention he commands in the division.
All of the talk leading into the fight with Jack had to do with Ilia Topuria. I mean, I was even part of those debates. And to extend the conversation, I picked a weight class. Everybody else had assumed it was 170. I'm up there, got a panel, people around me. Everybody's assuming that Islam is going to pull back down to 155 pounds.
Sonnen explains that he was against Islam dropping back to 155 pounds. He believes that once Islam makes weight at 170 pounds for the first time, he'll feel great and prefer staying in that division. Sonnen also emphasizes that an Islam versus Ilia fight is bigger at 170 pounds because fans don't care about exact weigh-ins. They just want to see the action, whether it's in the octagon or hypothetically even in a street fight.
I was against that, and I said, look, once he makes weight on Friday for his first time ever at 170 pounds, once he feels how good he's going to feel, once he sees how much he likes this, we're not going to see him back at 155. But moreover, that fight, Islam versus Ilia, that fight is a bigger fight if you get it at 170. Because first off, you guys, you don't care you don't care at all what they weigh in at. You don't care if they don't even weigh in, right? To a fan's mind, it is, you don't care if they get into a street fight.
Chael Sonnen explains that the hype around Islam dropping down to fight Ilia has diminished. The matchup has lost some of its novelty, especially now that Arman Tsarukyan's situation has been resolved. As a result, the Islam versus Ilia fight isn't generating as much attention at the moment.
Something's off. And now what do we do with Islam now? Something is off. Like the idea of Islam pulling down and taking on Ilia Topuria, it's not as cool right now. It is not the novelty that it once was, because now we've got that problem solved. We got Tsarukyan. I get why nobody's talking about Islam.
Chael Sonnen breaks down Islam's next potential fight at 170 pounds. While Sonnen thinks a showdown with Kamaru Usman would be ideal, Usman himself hasn't publicly pushed for it. He's mentioned it quietly, but hasn't made a big demand or announcement.
Who does he face at 170? Well, I know what Chael wants. Chael wants him to fight Kamaru Usman, but Kamaru Usman's told almost nobody. Kamaru Usman has mentioned it, but not much. He doesn't have a bullhorn standing on top of the roof in the tallest building in town like I'd be doing. He has mentioned it, but he hasn't demanded it.
Shavkat says he wants the title next, but the timing might not match Islam's schedule, who will likely defend around April or May. He's ready if that fight happens, and reminds everyone he was supposed to get a title shot before with a valid reason for turning it down, promised another. But if he needs to fight once more before the belt, he's fine proving again that he's the top contender.
Of course, I would prefer to fight for the title next, but I think this timeline not gonna work for Islam. February, March. Probably he will defend his belt in April, May, that time. Of course, if I can fight Islam next, I'm ready, I can do it. But if, also I was supposed to fight for a title, and I had a respectful reason not to take this opportunity, and I was promised also a title shot in the future. But again, if I have to fight before title shot again, I have no problem. I can prove again that I'm the #1 contender. I'm the rightful contender.
Ian is furious that people keep bringing up Kamaru Usman as a possible opponent or title contender. He says it makes no sense because Usman has only one win since 2021 and doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the title conversation. What upsets Ian is that despite this, Usman's name is still being thrown around as if he's relevant in the division. Ian thinks it's nonsense and wants everyone to stop acting like Usman is still in the mix.
Very, very early in the fight, seems like an old cut, an old wound reopened, and then there was a stoppage.
It was the first jab, Ariel.
Wow.
I remember watching it. I was stood there, I was moving. Boom. Cracked him straight down the middle with just a piston of a jab. His head snapped back. He comes back, and I just see this cut open. I was like, Della, this is not going to be good for you. That jab's going to keep going.
Cruz says the matchup between Islam and Ilia makes no real sense on paper, but admits it could still happen anyway. He points out that fans would watch for one reason: the small but intriguing possibility that Topuria becomes the first man to stop Islam from dominating on the mat for 5 straight rounds. And even though the odds are slim, Cruz says that what if factor alone is enough to make the fight one people would tune in for.
The one that makes zero sense to me, but that could happen, would be Topuria and Makhachev.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen too, and we'd still win on that one, right? Because just the small chance that Topuria is the first guy that can actually stop Makhachev from, holding him down on the floor easily for 5 rounds. That would be why we'd be tuning in to see if that's possible.
In a recent video, Chael hears Islam saying Shavkat shouldn't get a title shot right after a year-long injury layoff, even though Islam politely adds he'll fight him if the UFC books it. But Chael pushes back, reminding fans that historically the UFC has given returning fighters immediate title shots before, so he's really throwing the question back to the audience if Shavkat deserves it based on precedent, or is Islam predicting something that doesn't actually line up with UFC history?
Islam said Shavkat Rakhmonov does not deserve a title fight immediately returning after being out for a year with an injury. Now, Islam was a gentleman about this. As a matter of fact, he even said, if they give him the title shot, I'll go fight him. But he was just predicting that Rakhmonov would not be offered the title shot. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, historically speaking, that's not true.
However, Chael adds that, looking purely at the numbers, Shavkat Rakhmonov absolutely deserves a title shot. 19-0, 18 finishes, only 1 round lost collectively, and it's hard to argue against it. But he also respects Islam's viewpoint, noting that from a fan's perspective, it might be more exciting to see Rakhmonov get a fight first before stepping in against Islam. It makes the eventual matchup bigger and more compelling, giving context and stakes to the title fight.
Come at this adverse to Islam and say, hey, the guy that's 19-0 fights for a title. And you go, yeah, that makes sense. Hey, the guy that's had 19 fights and he finished 18 of them, he fights for a title. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, the guy that's had 19 fights, he's won them all and finished 18, and all of them collectively, he's only lost 1 round. He fights for a title. Yeah, he should. Like, it feels like nobody's wrong here. And I don't hate Islam's stance. Like, I think as a fan, I would like to see Islam get it right. Rakhmonov returning against Islam, it's Rakhmonov having a match and then taking on Islam.
Drop your thoughts in the comments. Could this NYPD investigation actually shake the entire division? Is Islam's team facing a minor setback? Or could this turn into something far more serious than anyone expected? With rumors flying, legal questions piling up, and the spotlight intensifying, the MMA world is watching closely. Are we witnessing the start of a major scandal? Or will this situation disappear as quickly as it started? Hit like and subscribe.